The legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics. From the legends of memory and storage, Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products, precision engineered for speed and stability. Crucial Ballistics.
Hey guys, welcome back to LG Ultragear presents TEC Gauntlet Season 4, powered by Crucial and our apparel partner 656. Universe and I are both rocking 656 jerseys, so go ahead and check them out. You can find their link in the description below as well. And because this is going to be a high energy game, go ahead and scan that QR code to get your Red Bull cans as well. Today, we have Enigma Gaming versus M42 for you guys. Universe, tell me, just on an overall level, what do you think about this game?
I mean, if you look at how exactly both these teams have been performing in the recent past, you're going to say that Enigma's probably going to be taking this one. It should be. I wouldn't say it's a walk in the park, but I would say it's a run in the park for them. They definitely have the upper hand going into this. They've got 2 wins, both of which they have not let their opponents cross even the 6 round mark. It's been a very, very
Damn.
dominating performance so far. All 4 of the maps, by the way, in 2 matches. They've played 4 maps, one of which was a 13. I remember every single scoreline. 2 maps, 36. One was a 13-0 and one was a 13-3. That's how they.
Damn.
That's how they've won so far. So Enigma are on an absolute roll right now. There's nothing stopping them from maybe even making it straight to the playoffs with the next win itself. Whereas M42, well, they picked up their first ever map in the TC Gauntlet just the last game that they played. But that was one map against one team, and this is Enigma, possibly the contenders of this tournament right now. So
Yeah.
it's a very, very, very steep hill to climb for M42.
Yeah, M42 was playing God Particles, and that's when they were able to pick up their first map in the tournament. And that too was a very sweaty map. Like, it went down to the wire, and they were only able to win it because they broke God Particles' economy in one crucial round. But let's
Mhm.
take a look at the standings so far. We've been talking about these teams and their previous performances. It would be nice to see which one of these players from these teams can actually make a difference just by themselves. Are you kidding me? Paradox already has 131 kills?
I
Bro, nobody
mean,
else is even close to triple digits. This guy's on 130. Damn.
yeah, that's just Paradox. I guess he has been rocking his jet stats, jet kills for as much as he can. He's just pulping out the orange or the lemon to its very bitter end, and he's trying to make it work for himself, and not just for himself, for his team as well. With 131 kills, 259 ACS. Raw Fuel is high on his tail. He's got 78 and 42 with 325 ACS. But Paradox right now, currently in a league of his own. None of these players are going to be performing today except for the man himself, Raw Fuel. But on the opposite side, we do have one player that I think had made a couple of appearances, maybe 1 or 2 days, or maybe for a week, he was on the MVP standings, which was M42's Hyper. And he's a Jetman himself, who, by the way, has got individual prowess that, not as great as Raw Fuel, but good enough to be noticed by a lot of different people. So let's find out what exactly he can do on the battlefield against Raw Fuel. But before we do go there, we've got the group standings, ladies and gentlemen, to have an overall look at what exactly could be the consequence of this match and what exactly is the prerequisite for both of these teams. Enigma comfortably sitting on second. They're going to have 4 points to their name, whereas M42 are down on seventh with 2 points lesser, and they've already played one game extra. So this is going to be their fourth match, and it already looks a little bit dwindly for them, doesn't it? The playoff spot.
Yeah, it does look dwindly. Half your matches are over. Now you are up against Enigma Gaming, potentially one of the strongest teams in the tournament, not just in their group. And Enigma today have a chance to tie up the score with God Particles. Of course, God Particles did struggle against M42. One of those maps went into triple overtime. So clearly, if Enigma beat M42 today, they will have definitely proven themselves to be better than God Particles because of the round difference. Assuming Enigma are able to beat M42 with a comfortable scoreline. But M42 have a habit of making their opponents sweat. Like you said, it's going to be a run in the park, and definitely when you run, you sweat quite a lot. So it's not going to be easy. But as compared to all the other matches that Enigma have played, I feel like they will be a bit more comfortable facing M42. Let's take a look at the lineup of Enigma Gaming. Of course, this lineup has changed this month. Excali entering the fray, turning this team into a six-man roster. Now, we aren't sure which five of them will be playing today. On your screens, you have Hika, RBK, Antidote, Rafuel, and Rex. Of course, there is Excali as well. You don't see him on the screen just yet. Maybe you'll see him in the server. We'll find out when these guys actually enter the server and they start prepping up. But for now, this seems to be the Enigma lineup. And with or without Excali, this lineup is really goddamn strong. I'm so proud of Antidote. The guy went from being an average Jet main to a godlike Astra player, and he is a fantastic IGL right now. Keep in mind that he was never an IGL throughout his career. Even back in the CSGO days, he used to be the primary opper. But now he's picking up new roles simply because he has the experience to do so. And I love it that he's channeling all that experience into a new role and he's trying out new stuff. So whenever someone steps out of their own comfort zone and tries something new, I always appreciate it. Let's take a look at the spotlight, and we know for a fact who it is going to be from Enigma Gaming. It is none other than the new person himself, Excali. Keep in mind that this guy was in the MVP standings of the last season as one of the best players, although he has gone through a few changes of his own. Last season, he was famous for being one of the strongest duelists in the country. This time, he's picked up Sky much more often than any other character. So you can see that he's also transitioning to more of an initiator rather than a duelist himself.
Yeah, but in the last two series that I've watched Excali play, he has picked up a variety of agents. He's picked up the Sky. He's even gone for the Rays. He's even played the Reina, and he's just been an absolute, monster on the server. Every time his team needs him to pull out, a round victory or even try and find some space, this guy is always available to put his life on the line. And that's the best thing about Excali. He is fearless. He is absolutely courageous, and he will take the first step. He's not afraid of that. He will take the first fight against the opponents so that his teammates can, trade him off even if he does lose his life. And that's the best thing about Excali. His explosivity as a Raze, his patience as a Sky is what rewards him the best. And let's find out whether or not today he is going to be, an important player, because for the last two games that he has played, he's been pretty great. He's been, among the top three fraggers every single time. And if he continues that streak, good form of a good run, good form, forgive me, he is going to probably take on the side of M42 pretty much as easily as he would have expected to. But that's a lot about Enigma. Let's have a look at the team that is going to be facing them. It is a David versus Goliath battle here. Let's have a look at the people who are going to be a little bit more working hard in this game. Venom, Rix, Sam, Emo, Hyper, bunch of players who have come together for a while now. It has been Grips, but they still really haven't found their true calling, have they?
I mean, that depends on what your definition of true calling is. This is the team that is fairly new as compared to some of the other teams out there. Although I wouldn't say that the players are new. Venom and Rix have been around in the Indian competitive FPS scene since quite a long time, and one would say that they are some of the most experienced players. But the team itself has been formed pretty recently. They haven't even crossed the 6 month mark yet. So that tells you all you need to know about M42. Enigma, on the other hand, they've been playing since last year. And no, I'm not making one of those silly 2021, 2022 New Year jokes. No, when I say last year, they've been playing since 2020. So, yeah,
Hmm.
compared to them, that team, Enigma, has been together for a lot longer. They've played in the competitive scenario for a lot longer. So, it is appropriate to call it a David versus Goliath battle. But as we know, that David was able to win that battle against Goliath according to the old legends. Can M42 score their first strike against a massive team like Enigma?
Well, we're gonna have to find out, but they're gonna have one person in particular that maybe they will look up to, as M42 will have, somebody that needs to make this play happen, make all the plays happen a lot more than usual, and which I believe has to be Hyper. I think that Hyper has been, a good player in terms of, as a duelist. He got, I think, above 250 frags last season, at almost 300 he touched, I believe. He alone has had multiple clutches to his name. He's got multiple first bloods to his name. This guy is a freak of nature on his own, but multiple times it's the case where him as a self-sustaining fragger is a good thing, but it's almost a coin toss at times. It's a 60-40 where he would need another player to support him, because sometimes Hyper, his consistency can go up and down. But like I said, it's a 60-40 thing. Let's have a look at this player spotlight though and find out who exactly is going to be challenging Excali. It's going to be Emo from M42, and he has been rather, I don't want to say he's had the best of performances. Looking at his stats as well, 92 kills, 134 deaths. It's a little bit towards the average side, isn't it? I feel like Emo could do a lot better than he is right now.
I mean, it's a fresh start for Emo. If you compare the sky with the sky, so it makes sense. But I must say that Emo has been one of the main reasons why this team was even able to score that one map against God Particles. His breach is absolutely phenomenal. He is a self-sustaining breach, unlike most breachers who play to support their teammates. So that's one good thing as well. He can fit into any role that you require of him. But yeah, you are right. As compared to a player like Excali, Emo is yet to prove himself. But that is all, relative. One common thing between Excali and Emo is that they both have sick tattoos, which is obviously not related to Valorant, but that's just one thing we notice. Either way, we'll take a look at what Emo can do when we get into the first game. And as you know, guys, this is going to be a best of three affair, so naturally, all the players will need to bring their best, not just but also all throughout the series. It's a test of endurance as well, and at some level, it also tests your mindset, because if you lose map one in a horrendous fashion, it becomes difficult to reset for the second map. Let's see whether M42 have the stamina, the endurance, and the skill set to match them against the side of Enigma Gaming. We start off with Ascent, a relatively open map, which honestly can go either way, which is good. M42 is a team which hasn't really set their tactics in stone, so it's fine that they pick up a map like Ascent. The puggish nature of this map can potentially help them overthrow Enigma Gaming if they land their shots alone. Of course, when we go over towards the side of Icebox, things become considerably more complex. Enigma Gaming definitely have played Icebox more than they need, but I can't really say the same for M42. I don't think they'll be comfortable on the second map at all. And that's why, if they want to push this series to map number 3, they must win Ascent, because I don't see any chances of them picking up Icebox.
Well, to give you a little bit of backstory, this is exactly the first two maps that was played out yesterday, by the way, between FS Esports and Team T69. And let me tell you how that went. So FS Esports picked out Icebox, and they played on Ascent, and they won the map 13-4. It looked like it was
Mhm.
going to be a 2-0, but then we had T69 come in and win the map 13-8, which was completely unexpected. And then it went to Haven on the last map, where T69 made a fitting comeback happen. Now that could be on the cards for M42 as well. Even if they do give up a cent, which we expect them to win, and they go to Icebox, which we don't expect them to win, it could turn around, because that's kind of what's happened to the previous team that I saw go through this. And I'm not going to be surprised if it does happen, though, because having a pick like Icebox against a team like M42, who are not really comfortable playing other maps than Ascent, Haven, maybe Bind, which again, Bind would have probably been banned by M42 because Enigma are just, well, to put it fairly, they are the kings of Bind. There's no two other ways about it. They are currently the kings of Bind, and M42, I do believe you, Grips. I think that they have one chance to pull this out into a third map situation, and that's only if they find Ascent under their belt. But I don't know. I'm looking for a little bit of pick your opponent's map as your own kind of a play today. If it's gonna happen, that is, we don't know yet.
Well, let's just jump into Ascent then. We'll soon be going into agent selection, and then we'll figure out what these guys actually have in store for us. Of course, Ascent being one of those maps where you have a choice between either picking up a double duelist or a double initiator. I kind of feel that M42 might pick up a double duelist. They have done so in the past, and given that the way they play is much more freestyle than any other team, I think the double duelist setup might actually work for them. Enigma, on the other hand, are a little more disciplined, so we might see the double initiator coming from them. Either way, no matter what you choose, it comes down to how you place your utility. Because we've seen so many times whenever these guys play Ascent, it boils down to war of attrition. M42 are not the best at pick and map control across the whole map, but what they are good at is boiling out utility from their opponents, making
Mhm.
sure that they run low on resources so that when they actually assault a site for real, then they don't have to encounter too much resistance, which is one very good thing about M42. I mean, this is probably some of the old CS principles that they are using. Enigma, on the other hand, they are also pretty adept at taking map control, but whether or not they can survive the M42 utility bait trap is something that we'll have to see.
I think that Yeah, I think that the agent selection is going to be double duelist for one side at least. Probably not Enigma, but if the side of M42 go for it, which I've not seen before from their side, it is going to be interesting. That's for sure. Because what would be the second agent that you pick? Do you pick a Raze? Do you pick a Reina? Or do you want to go for a Yoru? I don't know if you're feeling up for it. You never know when that agent.
Yoru?
I
Who
mean,
plays Yoru, bro?
uh, I've seen it, and I don't want to take names right now, but we've seen it, and we
We've
know
seen
who.
it. Binks picked it up once in the last season and he didn't make much use of it. That's what I remember. I don't
Yeah,
remember anyone else picking up Yoru.
I
Either
would
way,
love
people
to
are.
see a Yoru, buff come in, and which
Yeah,
was rumored for quite a while,
yeah.
but still not happened. I hope that he gets a buff, and somehow this guy becomes just as viable as any other agent on in the duelist category. Because a jet might be a dasher, but a teleporter is just as cool, man.
Yeah, and his teleport range is massive. Like you can go from one end of the map to the other. Of course, more often than not, people end up camping your teleporter beacon, and that results in your instant death. But like, imagine a nice Sova Yoru combination. If you figure out that your teleporter is safe, nobody's camping it, then you probably can get over there scot free. But that doesn't happen all that much often. I mean, across all categories, not just in the duelist category. I think Yoru is probably the least picked character right now. Almost
Yeah,
0% in any tournament, less than 5% in any uh, competitive game or any regular pub game. So, yeah, I mean, let's. Why are we even talking about irrelevant characters now? We'll probably discuss Yoru when the buff comes out. If it does come out, I don't know how you.
damn, straight
I
up
don't know how.
irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, how do you buff a character whose core concept itself is so weak? It's based on deception, but it's so easy to read. So yeah, they need the rat needs to pull some socks up if they
Do
want
you
to
think?
actually make Euro competitive.
Do you think Yoru would be more deceptive if instead of footsteps it was after images of him, like
Yeah,
mirages?
I mean, that is one of the things that they were discussing, right?
Hmm.
I'm not sure how many of you have played Apex Legends, but there's a character in that game called Mirage that launches like a fake character in a certain direction, and you can
Yep.
control it to some extent. So maybe if Riot do something like that, maybe he's somewhat possible. But then again, it does become pretty easy to differentiate between an afterimage and a real character as well, right? I mean, a single bullet can tell you the difference. If that does happen, most likely people will use it to get like a millisecond advantage over their opponent when you're shooting the wrong character, and you get like 1 second timing window to shoot on your opponent. That's probably the best way
Mhm.
that you can use him in a game like Valorant. I mean, Mirage is pretty much irrelevant in the competitive circuit of Apex Legends as well, so I don't know how that's going to help a game like Valorant, which is significantly more constricted and the maps are tiny. So yeah, I think the whole core concept of that character itself is pretty weak.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to agree. I think Yoru will find a way probably at some point to come back. But what about, the duelist setup of would you choose a Reyna or a Raze on the map of Ascent? What do you think would be viable? Because there's a lot of teams that do debate this. We've seen T69 pick up Raze at times, we've seen them pick up Reyna at times. We've seen multiple teams go, if they're going for the double duelist, they go for the Raze or Reyna. What do you think is a better option?
Mm, I will pick Raze for two reasons. A,
Mm-hmm.
movement is important. I mean, there's only three movement based characters in the whole game: Jet, Raze, and now Neon. You can't even play the Neon in competitive games just yet. You're not allowed to do that in tournaments yet. I mean, the character was added just a couple of weeks ago, so not yet.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Raze because A, movement, B, the utility actually helps you clear out some of the areas. Some of that utility is even useful in post plant situations. If you have a nade lineup, you can easily blow up people who are trying to defuse. The boombot clears up spaces and tight corners. So yeah, and then the showstopper. You don't
Mm-hmm.
even need to explain why showstopper is relevant. It's a bloody rocket launcher. It's like bringing a gun and a rocket launcher together, and yeah, you know the difference. Reyna, on the other hand, can be more viable because you have a get out of jail free card if you get the kill. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
it really depends on the individual fragger. So if the guy is not having a good day, then the Reyna becomes pretty much irrelevant. With the Raze, you can still dish out damage consistently, whether or not you're able to hit your shots. So I would pick the Raze, but of course, it depends on the comfort level of these people as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, it does, depend on that, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Small little tech pause has come in, ladies and gentlemen, right before the game. Unfortunately, we are dealing with it though. We will be going into the game pretty soon, just a couple of minutes more. But I, we talk about duelists and we know that they've got that impact, right? But we've seen multiple double initiator setups here. And to be honest, Breach has had a lot of impact in the recent past than Sky. And there's always this one difference between them. Breach is a more map control, push you off your edge, push you off your position kind of an initiator who forces you off angles. But Sky is somebody who plays on the basis of information. So who do you think would be more viable right now? Who is the better initiator?
Considering its ascent, I would say Breach. The narrow
Right.
corridors can easily make the fault lines a lot more difficult to dodge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you don't need to gather all that much information in Ascent, right?
Because you
I
got
mean, there
Sova.
are, yeah, you got Sova. It's somewhat easy to gather information in Ascent. Yeah, if this is a different map, like let's say Breeze, or maybe let's say, I don't know, Haven, then you need this guy because you need that information. Breeze,
Mm-hmm.
of course, being such a massive map, the breach can become somewhat irrelevant because there's not too many surfaces that you can use the flash against, and because the map is so huge, the fault line can also be easily dodged. That's why I will prefer Sky in one of those open maps which requires you to gather more information, and in narrower maps like let's say Split and Ascent, I will pick up the breach instead. Plus, we have seen all the players of M42 use breach many times in their games. At least Emo from M42, I know for a fact, is very comfortable with the breach. And like I said, he's a
Mm-hmm.
self sustaining breach, not one of those flash and dash combination breaches. So, yeah, that's one good thing about M42. I think they will definitely prefer the bionic speed over the Australian bird dancer.
Personally love Breach. I think I have. I mean, for the last 20 odd games or so, I've been spamming that Breach lock.
Oh,
Not insta lock though. I don't insta lock. I wait.
oh,
I
man
wait.
of culture. Okay.
Yeah, I don't insta-lock, man. I mean, see, people would be happy if you don't insta-lock and then you ask them, okay, can I play Breach? Because there's always someone And not every time there was, understanding teammates who would say, okay, you can go ahead and play Breach. But most of the times I had people who say, okay, you can go ahead and play Breach. And I think I did a pretty good job. I think I was okay with the Breach. I think, I'm starting to make it my agent kind of a thing. But
All right.
yeah, I think Breach is, dude, I love Breach, man. Self-sustaining, team sustaining, utility that can damage, utility that can stun, utility that can blind, a plethora of possibilities that you can have Breach play with in terms of combo. But hey, let's find out whether or not the big bad bully is going to be in the screen in the server today, ladies and gentlemen. Agent selection coming up for M42 against Enigma Esports. Here we go. The match has begun, and we have got the players locked and loaded in. Riggs has gone in for that Killjoy immediately. As on the other side, we've got Excali with the Sky. There is going to be, pick of a Breach so far, at least it looks like. And every time that we get flirted with that Yoru pick, I just feel sad because I know they're not going to pick it out.
Yeah, they're not gonna pick it. They always do it, right? They always want to bamboozle us by just hovering over the Yoru, and then they make us talk about it. And then after the game is over, all the players watch this VOD and they're like, haha, baited them. Nah, sorry, that's not gonna work again. We've seen this trick way too many times. What we haven't seen very often is a chamber, and I would very much love to see a chamber picked up. I must point out that we have Rival in M42 playing today instead of Emo. So my whole Emo being one of the good breaches theory just goes out of the window. And we haven't seen too much from Rival. So I think that can be a surprise element coming in from M42. On the side of Enigma, though, I think more or less is sorted. Antidote always plays the Astra RX. He always plays the SOA, RVK. He's playing the Sentinel. We usually see him on a Cypher, but yeah, Killjoy is also fine. And yeah, it's Rocky on the Jet this time instead of Excali. But Sam has picked up an Omen instead. All right.
And I think this is a kind of a team decision that they've come up with. It's probably something that they're trying to be a little bit more comfortable with. And I know you're happy about it. Omen's your favorite.
I'm an Omen main. People say that Omen is kind of irrelevant in the competitive games right now. I hope M42 can do justice and prove that these guys can still use the Omen and it is a still good character. Either way, on front of your screen right now, you have live scenes from the M42 bootcamp. Seems pretty clean. But
I love their shots. They're such nice shots.
Plain, elegant.
Yep.
But either way, let's see if the executes are elegant as their shirts. Either way, Enigma going to be starting out on the defender side with M42 on attacking. And let's see what they have in store for us, because M42 are stacking up outside of the A main region. Will they go in for a full-blown push or not? Also, another important thing, that's by B, the man behind the success of Optic India. And he is a phenomenal coach hailing from Germany. With him coaching Enigma Gaming, I think this team can reach new heights, not just in Gauntlet, but on the overall South Asia level.
Indeed, but look at this, M42 rushing straight in towards that A main side. They found two, but Antidote's gonna... Wait, he's actually gonna stick for the plant, Sam. Oh, gets a little bit of cover as Hyper takes out Antidote. That's gonna be a very quick pistol run coming in from M42. As a 4v2 has come in over here, and a retake that looks pretty much impossible unless Rexy can find a 2k, which has to be miraculous. But he's eating damage, and he's not even being allowed onto the side. And RVK, okay, yo, that was a shot and a half from RVK.
Last player standing.
But Rival's taken out his counter brother. Sova's gone down, and so has Riggs taken out RVK. That's going to be number one for the side of M42, and a good start for the side of M42. Something that I did not expect. They were being aggressive, and I actually expected them to play a little bit more slowly, because that's how they've been throughout the tournament so far.
And that's what happens when you pick up the Omen instead of someone like Astra. The one-way smokes are so potent with this character. And you can see how it made a difference, right? Usually when you place a smoke towards the heaven area of a site, people don't hesitate pushing through it. But when there's a one-way smoke, yeah, that's a massive deterrent. Another one-way was followed up by the Jet Cloud Burst. And that's probably one of the only reasons why Omen is still somewhat relevant, the one-way smokes. Oh, Antidote trapped under hell. He's still making this one work. The flashes pop out, and that's M42's cue to start attacking once again. But Excali jumps into the fray, takes down two people. All of a sudden, M42 is on the back foot. Hyper does have the better weaponry, but
enemy
he's
remaining.
found the 1v1, and that's exactly what Enigma is not supposed to do. In that 1v2 situation, they could have flushed it if they played together. But Hyper doesn't have any more information. Spike dropped towards that region, and he could have considered Rexy over there, but Rexy's so precise with the Marshall. And this is worse than winning the pistol round. Now that economy is broken, Enigma not only get the round, but they get the economic advantage, which would have been the other way if M42 was able to win this round as predicted.
Yeah. That was, you know, a little... I feel like the way that they played out that round, Enigma, was beautiful just because of the fact that Antidote won under Heaven. He had support from A shot, and they were constantly going that 1-2-1-2 peak because they were constantly trying to, you know, disarrange whatever was the plan of M42, and that kind of helped them win that round with a lot more conviction than we would expect them to. Rexy struggling against a turret, but he's got support. RVK finds a good kill, gets a second, gets a third. RVK is having a field day right now. It is an eco for the side of M42. So,
Oh no.
Venom, Rexy, both of them. Awkward moments with the Sheriff are not that uncommon.
I agree, they're not that uncommon, but I really thought that he would have broken the Leer quickly. He
Damn.
was probably trying to save the amount of bullets that were inside his Sheriff chamber.
I got enough
So,
friends going to
hey,
the
it
Astro
wasn't
Fall.
supposed to be M42's round anyway. They were just on a
Got
bunch
a
of
weapon.
pistols, and I'm actually happy that Enigma don't lose too many players. They get to retain their weaponry. Now, as we go into the 4th round, Enigma and M42 are on equal footing. Buy round against buy round. There could be one game changer though. RVK has his lockdown available already. So in case M42 are able to plant, this lockdown will be a very important tool for retaking.
Oh, okay, Raw Fuel getting a little aggressive for his own turn, and Rival finds another. Venom will get the 3rd killer with that. It's the
One
A side
enemy
opened up yet again. A Flawless looking to come in over here as RVK is the only man left standing, and a 2nd round has to go away from his side. Yep. Sam, what are these pushes? This aggressive push from M42. The switch up in this play, I really like this.
And I'm very surprised that M42 do not get punished even after they push a one-way smoke. I really thought that Rockfield would have been able to win that engagement immediately. No. M42, they go against the odds, they counter push a one-way smoke, and they still win the duels, which doesn't happen every day. This is a different M42 that we are seeing today. A lot more confident, a lot more aggressive. And
Indeed.
these guys sniff blood in the water. They're like sharks diving deep behind their prey, and they want to get that prey immediately, sink their teeth inside. This time they're going for a mid plus B split. 3 of them coming in from market, and the only person who can stop them is Rockfield. Could have stopped them, did not succeed. RBK trying to fall back so that he can regroup with his team. Not successful. Now Rexy is trapped. He's got
Last
Venom on his
player
left-hand
standing.
side. 2 other players on the right. Antidote has a massive task on his shoulders, but I think it's a bit too much for him.
Spike planted.
Well, you might just be right because Venom with a 4K has settled this round for his team, and what a round from Venom. 2-3 now, and the side of M42 are not giving this up just yet. They are aggressive. They are playing up front. The last time I saw them play, they were just so you know, respectful about their opponents. They were trying to play as slowly as possible, wait for the opponents to make the mistakes, try to make it work in a way that, you know, they had to get the opponent to push off of their defensive lines. But even then, they were never really able to get the trades because the defenders, whoever were playing against them and were being aggressive, were able to find frags that they never should have found. But this immediate switch up in this matchup against Enigma, I love it. And they could possibly be on track to take out one of the best teams around right now. So far, so good, though. And the only thing that they need to do right now is keep up this consistency. And Enigma having this timeout come in this early in the first half is indicative that they do not want to let this game slip up more than they would. They don't want it to let it go to a 2-5 or 2-6. They want to do damage control as soon as it's been done from the side of M42.
One switch up that Enigma could make is commit more utility towards mid, or they could just completely give up mid entirely. We have seen teams like August 5 do it sometimes, you know. they shut down the mid-market door. They don't play any players over there, have nobody, and then they just place mid on retake or something, not letting them take mark.
What?
RVK with nothing to lose. He pushes out of the smoke, gets 2 kills, which is a lot more than one could have asked of him. And even Venom has not healed up yet, so a single bullet should be able to get rid of him.
Oh,
and he
man.
catches them at the worst time possible. M42, they climb up one hill only to fall down from it later on. They have lost 2 rounds so far, make it 3. Well, you know what the funny part is? Out of the 3 rounds that they have lost so far, 2 of them have been 50s.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. And this time, or whatever it is, the instructions that was given by YB or whatever it was that Antidote was chiming in for that round, it worked out perfectly. But the hero of that round was just RVK pushing through a smoke randomly through on mid, and he just finds 2 casual headshots like that, as if it's just another day that he's, you know, on a ranked match or something. What a guy, man. RVK with a Sheriff is a deadly combo. Romantic story better than Twilight itself, as we all know it. And this time...
Any story is better than Twilight, bro. Bad comparison. Ooh, ultimate committed from Omen, from the shadows. He actually sticks it. He lands inside his smoke, and RVK lets it pass through. Rexy still the last line of defense on B, but he's blind as a bat. He can at least play the close angles, because the Leer and the Paranoia still have you get a little bit of sight. Venom, though, pays the price for pushing early. Still, it's a 2v3, so this is a doable retake. If they can commit the Cosmic Divide towards back of both halves, this potentially will become a lot easier, but Rix's flank has been stopped. Now, definitely, they have a lot more chance. Oh, no. While Excali was healing Antidote, Sam peeks out and gets them both. Double trouble as they are forced to dodge the Hunter's Fury and Sam's shot at the same time. I must say though, Sam is looking so much more confident on the Omen this time around. It takes nerves of steel to actually pull through your ultimate and fully commit it. Especially when you're landing inside a smoke. You have no idea what's going on around you. You will not have any lines of sight. And I thought RVK will actually push that smoke and kill him.
Yeah, me too. Or at least, like, you know, cancel his ultimate.
Yeah.
But they didn't do any of that. They just let him be, and they pay the price for it, Enigma. And unfortunately, because of that, they're rescinded to a couple of secondary weapons. A Spectre on Antidote and RVK yet again on the Sheriff, while there is a full buy from the remaining 3. And Raw Fuel is going to make good use of what he's bought in. There's a Hunter's Fury coming in, and Venom, he's going to be tagged. Rexy is going to only get 1 tag onto him, but probably the damage has been done here.
Damage, can it be rectified? Oh, no, not anymore, as Venom also loses his life towards A. But hey, that was a good pick. It keeps most of the Enigma players anchored on the A side, and now as they try to rotate, Sam is looking for an aggressive peek. Still wants to fight despite getting a kill. No problem. At least he's done his job, and the numbers advantage still lies with Enigma Gaming. Rawfuel gets 1 frag before he finally hits the grave, but that shock dart is making things difficult.
Oh, that might have just cost him the round here. Antidote, he didn't really have to push in, but Rix is a little low on HP, so that's the advantage of Excali, but it doesn't matter, because Excali was just not ready for that lane fight. And with that, it's number 5 for M42, and a very, very convincing start for the team on the attack. Something that I'm pretty sure not a lot of people expected at all from this team. But them performing up like this, putting Enigma on their toes, not allowing them to sit easy, and not allowing them to think, you know, with a little bit of a rested mind. Enigma have to constantly have fights in front of them, and that pressure that M42 is building up is actually throwing Enigma off guard, because they need time to think. They need time to try and make some plans happen. But because of these kind of rushes that M42 have been doing, Enigma have had no answer. Could this be another Thrifty though? Because Excali's already started off a motion.
Yeah, this time the ultimate will be punished.
Yo, dude, what? What? Okay, stop. This is
4 seconds, and that's all it takes to end the round. And it all started with that ultimate being committed from Sam. Last time he positioned himself inside a smoke. This time he didn't do that. He was on top of heaven, and the only thing covering him was a one-way smoke. You know what Excali does? He kills him right through it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a mistake, but an Omen ultimate being committed has always been a coin toss. What's even better is the way Rawfuel was able to capitalize on the aggression from Rexy. Rexy is just throwing shock darts, that's it. He's just trying to make sure that M42 cannot stick the plant, and while they're busy dodging all of that, Rawfuel picks them off as they're looking in the wrong direction. immediate response from Enigma. And you know what the worst part is? This is the third thrifty that they've been able to win. Enigma has pulled off more thrifty rounds than they've actually pulled off buy rounds, which is incredibly funny and hard to believe.
Well, I hope that this is going to be their second buy round win, because it should be, given all things considered, that they've got better weaponry, they've got better utility right now, a lot more utility at least, and everybody on the side of M42 except for Rival is on a Sheriff. So this should be a round that they, well, 90% win, unless M42 can pull off a, thrifty of their own.
And they're wasting so much time. They haven't gone for any pushes. They haven't gone for any info plays. M42 was only hoping that Enigma will somewhat push and maybe make a mistake. And they were looking to punish the said mistake. Of course, Enigma are aware that this is an eco round. So they don't want to walk into any of those traps. They don't want to take any risks. That's why even Enigma is not pushing. Both the teams just boiling out time. But there is one difference. Hyper snuck past. And he's inside heaven already? How did he even enter? There is a jet towards tree. Finally, he will be spotted out by RBK, but the remainder of his teammates who are trying to hit the B side will be stopped in the tracks as well.
Oh, I see what happened. I mean, I get that, but Hyper actually took all the damage he could from the turret, and he literally walked from there towards A shot because nobody was speaking except for the turret. And because he took it, yeah. And then he went to heaven and eventually died to the turret itself.
Yeah, I mean, now I understand why none of the players of the defender side actually tried to kill him, even though he was so deep inside tree. Because the turret was spotting him and they had information of this guy's position. So they didn't feel the need to actually go in there. And surprisingly, the turret finished off while it started. But this time the turret won't spot Raw Fuel. It does spot Antidote, who deliberately revealed his position, fired from a phantom, but the op has not been discovered. Will they actually push their own smoke?
Well,
under normal circumstances, this would have been a disastrous play, but yeah, now because nobody is down on mid, I think it's fine. They all go in from market, but nobody has been blinded. The two defenders still over here, but Antidote gets swung on by so many players. Raw Fuel has not been discovered. This could be crucial. Having control of B main will be absolutely important for Enigma, and Raw Fuel finally strikes. They now know that M42 is trapped in the site with no decent post-man positions available. The only person who could potentially lift some pressure over here is Rix. He's inside market, and he's the only player who's not been discovered. But as soon as I say that, Raw Fuel deletes him. Killjoy lockdown activated as well. It does force all the players of M42 to play deeper inside Boathouse, but Sam making the risky moves once again will be spotted. He tried to escape the lockdown by going towards market, but Raw Fuel is just so precise.
Oh, they're gonna give him the ace. They're gonna give him the ace. Of course they're gonna give him the ace. The knife ace for Raw Fuel. A retake ace even. That's a lot more impressive, because he's had a lot of players around him in that round, but he killed every single one of them.
Round before the switch.
Beautiful use of the operator, and Raw Fuel is at his very best right now.
Honestly, I would not have expected Raw Fuel to be so impactful. The only thing that was going on in my mind is that M42 haven't checked B main at all, and having lost control of B main will make things a little difficult for M42 in post-plant. And I knew that Raw Fuel will be relevant for 1 or 2 frags, but getting an ace? Yeah, that's something I did not expect. Either way, he ends it in style, stabs the last opponent in the face. And even his teammates are cultured. They didn't knife him right away. They let Raw Fuel come in, so kudos to them. This time M42 going for a straight up A push. Ready for the dash in, and the turret won't detect them. One-way smoke preventing anyone from peeking through from hell, but RBK is still bold enough to peek on the back of it. No lure available, and Excali can still shoot through the smoke. Seekers deployed, and this will discover the last player in the form of Sam. Even though he misses the shot, Raw Fuel makes good on that peek.
They finished all of that
before the lockdown.
Before the lockdown could even finish its, total time. What a play by Enigma. But I think that M42 got a little too greedy. They wanted the side a little too early. I think that they could have waited for the last 2 or 3 seconds maybe, and then have somebody dash in. And that play I think would have worked out. They would have at least gotten the plant by then. But well, what's happened, and now we've got a 7-5 scoreline, and Enigma have taken back the lead, rightfully so as well, having won so many thrifties, and finally the buy rounds that came in their favor. These guys deserve the lead, and they are going to have it just with 2 rounds. going into their attacking half. Man, this is where things get difficult, by the way, Cribs, because we know how potent Rafuel is on the attack.
We know he is potent, but there could be one massive deterrent. The one-way smokes from Sam can be so crucial in stopping these pushes. He's gonna act like a pseudo sentinel at this point, but given the way he's peeking on mid, it doesn't seem to be the case. Fights happening towards tree. They haven't fully lost control of it just yet, but the Astra has snuck in towards button. And this could be Antidote's step because he's separated from his team. Oh, but he's only here to sell a fake. Now RVK will finally reveal his true colors on the B side, and Sam will be like, guys, that's not the real player. The real play is happening on B over here. It's too late. The spike is already gone down. And Antidote's still alive, which means he can actually backstab them.
How is this man alive? He's on 2 HP? How much HP is he on?
Definitely not too much.
Oh no, wait, he's gone. Antidote's dead.
Yeah, they finally did kill him, but either way, that was such a brilliant play. I mean, M42 pulled off a fake like this in the first half. They committed Venom's life for that play, and his teammates went towards the peace side.
Yep.
This is Enigma pulling a page straight out of M42's book. And what's even better is, Antidote stayed alive, at least until the plant went down. Unlike M42, they lost their lives as soon as they started to enter the A main region. But hey, in both the scenarios, the fake actually worked. Now, all Enigma need to do is keep their weapons alive, make sure not too many people die, and continue this momentum into the next round as well, which will turn into the bonus.
Riggs, spotted out by the turret. He's going to take just an inch of damage. He's going to be okay to hold on that to line because he's got a smoke right in front of him. But there is a killjoy battle happening towards B main, which RVK will comfortably win, whereas the rest of his teammates try and make strides towards A. Hyper needs to be careful. He's got support in the form of a shorty armed Omen, but not for too long. Is he going to be alive even? Rival does take out Excali though, so that's one weapon dropped that they can pick up, but I think the damage has been done because look at Rafuel's positioning. Yeah.
Never in a million years Hyper would have expected that. Never in a million years. And the only person they've lost is Excali, who was the one person which would have been expected to die considering he plays so aggressively. But there is one thing though. Look at the amount of map control Enigma got in this round. They had players all the way inside defender's spawn. If they pull off stuff like this when M42 have a lot more to lose, this could be disastrous.
Yeah.
I should play some Astral Stars in this reality.
This most certainly could. And look at this. There is a timeout coming from M42 in this particular round. They have a full buy. And they know that the side of Enigma are on a... Wow, I just lost every single thing on my brain in just that 1 second. They are on a bonus. And they are going to have a little bit of a different strategy working in because they want to take these fights up front, close, and, you know, very personal fights because they've got Spectres and they need to make these fights work in their favor. And that's only going to happen more on B because A is so wide and big that you cannot really have those short-range fights unless the Jet dashes in, and he's only going to be the 1 point of, you know, personal fights. But I've noticed this in the last 2 matches as well. Enigma on their bonus rounds are actually a lot more successful than the teams who have a bye round.
Yeah.
That's at least what I've seen in the last two series that I've watched.
You watched it in the previous half as well. Forget bonus rounds. They were getting so many thrifty wins. Stands to reason that they'll be more dangerous with Spectres in their hands. And it's not like M42 are fully armored up. Sam and Riggs don't have full armor. So that means the Spectres can be even more deadly. 3 bullets and you're dead.
Well, they're going to have to be careful here, M42. They do have a timeout, on the back of which they would have hopefully made up a strategy, as there is a double smoke to... Okay,
but wait, why would the Omen smoke that area? That is counterproductive.
Well, they had a plan, I think, and here's Sam executing that plan with a couple of bullets, but he will go down though, and this B split could be very, very dangerous for the one man on the side. Riggs looking for one, will find it, needs a lot more to make this work though. He's got players swarming on the side. Antidote still towards Market, throwing down his stars and trying to help his teammates. And Rexy with a beautiful one tap. And RVK with another Rexy. Enigma, how are you winning these rounds? This is not supposed to be possible.
Nice.
Man, they pulled off better rounds with like these, and they did it with worse weaponry. So naturally, they would have been a lot more deadlier in this round. Although there is one question though. why would Sam smoke that area
Yeah,
of a shot?
yeah.
The
I would-
attackers usually place that smoke, not the defenders.
I'm pretty sure they themselves were looking at it and were like, what the hell is he doing? Because antidote smoke was there.
Yeah,
but
that's what the
so
attackers
Sam.
do.
I think they wanted to stop. They probably expected an A shot push. And they kind of maybe that's why I put it because they committed Sam towards B, right? So they maybe just wanted to hold off their A side by putting down that smoke, thinking that they'd be pushing in. Misjudged it a little. That read wasn't as perfect as they would have wanted it to be.
Forget about the read. There are so many better lineups on tree that you can place one ways on. You place a regular smoke, which an attacker usually would, and you're just helping Enigma Gaming in that process. And keep in mind, Roman smokes are expensive now. They don't come for free. You have to actually buy them. Even the cooldown of the smokes availability has been reduced to 40 now. So that really doesn't make sense. That was a questionable play at best.
Well, that's put them on an eco now. So they're going to have to go through with this. But 11 is almost certainly going to be coming up for the side of Enigma. Now, whether thrifty rounds are there for, things of wonders or whether M42 can replicate that sort of success has been so far nullified by Enigma in any sort of way. Still hope though. They do have a chance to pull off a thrifty themselves. Let's find out as a small little tech pause has come in. The game almost started in, but Enigma suddenly had a little bit of a tech issue and we've had to stop the game. But we will be resuming it in just a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Do not worry. But so far, Crips, even though M42 have put up a good performance, the scoreboard doesn't really translate that, does it?
It really doesn't. I think the only reason why Enigma is able to win this game is because they were able to destroy M42 economy in those certain rounds. Man, winning 3 thrifties is not a joke. And then they are able to win the bonus as well in second half. So, stuff like this is what makes M42 so vulnerable. Otherwise, in regular rounds where both the teams had enough weaponry, M42 was able to put up a decent enough fight. Oh, this time Hyper with the nasty shots. Decimating them with the Sheriff, but even Rival is stepping up with the Stinger. So far, things are competitive. It's still a 3 versus 3 and there's plenty of time on the clock. But Rival spotting out the spike could be dangerous. Did he even spot it? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but it doesn't matter because RVK was coming for the spike and he will be taking down the man holding down that alley. And now it's all on to Venom. He has a huge mountainous task ahead of him. A 1v3 against a hungry raw fuel, a precisionally brilliant RVK. But it doesn't even matter before I say Rexy's name because Raw Fuel wants that kill all for himself. That's going to be 11. And with that, M42, they're in big danger. 1 round away from giving away a match point and then having to fight for overtime is a situation that no team ever wants to be in. And they're just on the cusp of it now, Crips.
And this is the last time that they'll be able to afford weapons too. If they lose this one, not only does Enigma have map point, but they also have the economic advantage. Hyper with the op will be crucial in this round. He's opping towards mid, and that's where most of the action is headed. Let's see if he's actually able to find some picks or not. So far, he's not gotten any success. In fact, he has not even gotten any players to see. The defenders, keen on pushing B main, have actually forced the attackers to move towards mid instead of staying over there straight into Hyper's crosshairs. This was a calculated play because they wanted to drive the attackers into Hyper's vision, and they've successfully done that. But will Hyper be able to make it back to the A side in time? Excali not being careful enough. Nobody would have expected Sam to push through the smoke, so stands to reason why Excali would be careless that way. But Raw Fuel, he catches a careless Venom off guard. Both the teams making some mistakes. But now Hyper has to reposition. He realizes that his heaven position is not going to be relevant anymore. But Raw Fuel counter pushing this. And he's gotten in the back lines. But what's even more interesting is that there is a killjoy in the back lines too.
Player standing.
Whew! Hyper! Beautiful shot from him. The knives working to the best of their abilities. But Antidote's probably found a very, very cheeky way to get out of this round for himself and his team. He is in the 1v2. He's got 30 seconds to play. And he can get the spike down pretty easily. No stars to work with though, so that is one thing that is going to work against him. Absolutely no utility. He's going to have to base this win on the basis of his raw aim power. And let's see how that works out for him. All he needs right now is good positioning. And he's looking for it towards market.
Yeah, and he wants to play this one aggressively. He wants to pick up the fights, hoping to pick one player off as they rotate. And he's just about missed them. But both of them coming in from B main will actually work against Antidote because now he's in market. If any one of them sneaks through, then he's going to have to go all the way around. And the turret will spot him out. But wait, the turret won't figure out whether he's towards defender spawn entrance or towards market. And he can even defend the spike from here. It's planted outside. That's amazing. He wins it.
Wow. Antidote.
He's an IGL for a reason. And he pulls off the biggest brain play.
Well, he is Antidote for a reason. When his team could not find out a way, the man himself had to step in. And he is leading with example.
One funny thing,
out of 1v2. Yeah.
One funny thing is that both the teams had players in each other's spawns. I mean, the Killjoy in form of Rix was all the way towards attacking spawn. He went in from high mid later on. And then Antidote was towards defender spawn. So both the teams are able to sneak past each other's defenses, which is absolutely funny. You don't see that on an everyday basis. You don't see Antidote getting picked off for absolutely free on an everyday basis either. Hyper still wants to make good on that play. He knows for a fact that there are two people present over here, so he's looking for the kill on Excali as well. Will he find it? The angle is just a bit too wide, and Excali pulls away at the wrong time. Probably got information that Hyman has been leaked. That's why he looked away. Now it's just Rexy. Still catching players through the walls.
Hello?
Of course, he's a Sova. He's supposed to have X-ray vision. But, 1v3. Can he pull off what Antidote did?
Oh, he's actually going towards... Oh, he's doing pretty much what Antidote did. He doesn't know that there's a 3-man flank coming to take care of him. And this might just be a big brain play. He's expecting somebody to be around every single corner at this point. Rexy, my guy, your pathway to heaven, which is A, is absolutely clear.
And
he's
no
got a
God
lot.
can stop him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time to work with as well. 35 seconds on the clock.
What's even better is he has the Hunter's Fury. So if he can just play for time, he can move away from the site and use the Hunter's Fury to stop the defuse from happening. No shock darts though, so that's a bit risky. He's looking for a pick before he can finally go in for the plant, but as the timer takes lower and lower, he's like, nah, screw it. I'm just going to go for it. The recon dart misses. That's going to force him to plant towards generator. No problem. The plant is a little obscure, but it still works.
Well, Rexy, let's see what you got, my guy. The one thing that you need to do right now is play it in a 1v1 fashion, and that's a good position as well. Rival might just not expect this from Rexy. Rexy has to play off on sound cues here, but there's none being given to him yet. And look at that, great positioning. But after that first kill, it's gonna be spam brawl right down to the middle of his body as he eats bullets straight, and he's gonna go down to the gates of hell. Ooh, okay, Venom. Not completely defused yet. We'll take it though. 12 and 6, they're still halfway away across the world. And that's a huge journey to be still conquered here, Crips. And given that this journey is all so that they could still have another fighting chance, not to win the map of Ascent.
That does look like a steep uphill climb. One thing that makes it easier for them is that Enigma are starting to wither down. They're down to the last 2,000 or 3,000 credits, which is still quite a lot. Enigma have buy for 2 more rounds if they lose this one. But I think that should be enough for M42, who do not have the best of weaponry. Spectre on Rival, Ares on Rix, they're pulling in every penny that they have. Hyper still has the op, which could be the only ace in the hole that they have. But look at this. We have Venom already pushing out of B main. He knows for a fact that this is a full commitment and not a fake. But they have to go up the A side instead. And they most likely will have to play for a retake, which will be infinitely harder now, considering there is a lockdown and a Hunter's Fury available on Enigma. Raw Fuel gives up his life. No problem. They still have plenty of post-plant utility. And Rivals taking so much damage with the Nano Swarm. Hunter's Fury committed to destroy the lockdown, which is fine. He can probably pick up a kill or 2. He still has shock darts that he can use to deny the defuse. And of course, the Killjoy Nano Swarms will be considered as well.
No,
But that
Excali.
cloudburst,
One
that
enemy
actually works counterproductively. Gets Venom a free kill, and it's just RVK left. Nanoswarm grenades will only help him out so much, but they're pushing him through the smoke, and a barrage of bullets hail down upon him.
You know, it's been 19 rounds, and this is the first time we just saw the Ares in action.
Yeah.
That was surprising though. I actually forgot about it. I completely forgot about the Ares, which I believe should have been used a long time ago in the second round, in the fourth round, across semi-buys. But I completely forgot about it in this game, and well,
Well,
who
there you
lost to
have it.
both these teams?
Either way, that can we discuss that cloudburst for a second?
Yeah.
It seemed
my
like
way.
it was only there to give them a little wiggle room to get inside,
Oh,
but Venom is so
Venom.
aggressive. Jeez,
No.
he has no chill.
What?
What am I
Wait,
watching?
what? Anime battle.
This is no, bro. This is not even an anime battle, dude. This is the boss battle that is reserved for the 100th episode of an anime, because everyone's pulling in every move that they have. The dash, the updraft, the blade storm. Nothing was spared. Even a shorty was thrown into the mix. The only thing left is the kitchen sink, which probably Rix has to clean up now. Using the nanoswarm to delay as much as possible. Gets a kill too. But now the smoke will force him to be a little passive, allowing a little channel of pathway for Enigma to seep through. There is still rival on the side that they need to clear out, and they won't spot him. But
Oh,
now
Antidote.
Antidote takes his head off. Amazing stuff. Even Rix will be destroyed. Kills starting to go in the favor of the attackers, and Hyper needs a miracle right now.
Well, his miracle has been blocked off of by Vision at least, and Excali might have just put the final nail in the coffin with that penultimate kill. It's only on to Hyper, the last man standing, the last line of defense, and the last man to fall as well. Excali will take him down as M42 will lose out their home map of Ascent, and it is Enigma continuing their dominant streak across 3 series, and they will be stepping into Icebox with a big advantage.
Icebox itself was a massive advantage. Now that they're able to win Ascent, this is a good time for them to seal the deal 2-0 and secure their position at the top of the ladder alongside God Particles. Either way, this was just Ascent, and while M42 had some good rounds, I think the place where they actually lost this game was the lack of confirmation on Thrifties. If they could have
Yeah.
just secured those Thrifty rounds, not only do they win those 3 rounds that they actually lost, but they have more money for the subsequent rounds as well. So winning an anti-eco is absolutely crucial. That's the only thing that I would say. Come on, 3 Thrifties lost, that's a problem. You have to fix that. I don't know how they'll do it, but they must.
Yeah, let's have a look at the match highlights. Let's go back and relive what we just saw, because from beginning till the end, Enigma, in the beginning, they might have had a little bit of a slow start. They depended on pistols more than they did on their better weaponry, clearly, and it worked out for them somehow. But as rounds started moving by and they were 3 and 5 down, they won 4 rounds in a row to make it 7 and 5, and that was quite a stretch of rounds that they did win. And with that, though, Enigma, the way that they're playing as a team, the way that they're playing individually, and with moments like these coming in from M42 was what led to the victory of Enigma Gaming. Because let's say, in the beginning, M42 did look promising, right? But there were so many moments, I wouldn't say so many, I would say there were quite a number of moments where they were being aggressive, but they were being blindly aggressive.
Yeah, a bit reckless.
Yeah, checking corners sometimes was a little bit of a problem, and just blindly running in, expecting that okay, we're gonna do this A rush, and not expecting somebody to be on a crossfire position at that point. Everybody focuses their firing on just one side of the map, whereas somebody else pops out from the other to find that a minimum of 2 kills spraying down on the back of your teammates. Stuff like that is what gave away M42, and this is where it all began. Enigma, they won 4 in a row from this eco. And what a beautiful stretch of rounds that they had made up.
There were some glimpses of brilliance, though. The teleports that Sam was using were sometimes good, sometimes bad, but that's just Omen in a nutshell. You're always on a coin's edge. This was a bit brutal, though. Venom getting slaughtered like that, Raw Fuel picking up that ace. and that too on the back of just his presence on B main. So you are right when you say that checking all the angles and making sure all the possibilities are accounted for, that was a massive problem for M42. Even in this manner, see, I mean, Rafuel, I agree that since Sam is the last person on Mayor and he wouldn't expect Rafuel to be in that angle, I can forgive him for that. But then there are several other mistakes, like, for example, the ace which Rafuel was able to pull off was simply because his position towards B main went unchecked. You can't not check B main when you're trying to go for a B rush, right?
Yep.
That's like eating the bread without the butter. Either way, there were several funny moments too, where both the teams ended up making mistakes. Take a look at this round. There is a jet, an attacking jet inside the defender spawn. And then there were defending killjoys inside attacking spawn. So people are exchanging positions, sneaking through each other's defenses. And this was happening way too often. It wasn't just one or two rounds where they luckily snuck through. It was a consistent maneuver.
Yeah, it indeed was. And because of that, Enigma Gaming found their groove to the game. They realized what M42 were doing wrong, and their individual performance was just as good, right? Everybody was performing on the side of Enigma. There was nobody that had, some sort of a bad game, I would say. Even though they didn't get all the kills that they would want to, a couple of their players, it was moments like these where Impact, Antidote, he made up his, kill feed up to, I think he got 18, 19, something around that. Yeah, he's on 17, forgive me, 17. But you can see it. It was a team effort from the side of Enigma, and it was visible throughout the match. Whereas M42 did have a team effort, but it was kind of like started off strong, and then it was just like a downward graph that went all the way down to 0 by the time we reached the end of the game.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately how the Hui crumbles. M42, they've lost out their home pick. Now they must climb this massive hill. Icebox. It's a slippery map, pun intended, because it is one of the more comfortable maps of Enigma Gaming. And also, I haven't seen M42 play Icebox all that often. Sure, they might have had some decent performances in the past, but it still is dicey. And if they're not able to close out Ascent, and consider the mistakes they're making on Ascent, losing out thrifties, not checking angles, those mistakes can be so much more heavily punished in a map like Icebox because there's a lot more angles in that map. And if they're not diligent enough, they might be punished very, very heavily. How do they overcome this now? I guess that's the question we'll find out in a couple of moments, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be going live with Icebox in just a little bit, but first we're going to go on a tiny break. Thank you for watching LG Ultragear Esports Club Gauntlet Season 4. And stay tuned. Stock up on your popcorn because we'll be back with the second map shortly.
from the legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics.
Welcome back to LG Ultragear TEC Gauntlet Season 4, powered by Crucial and 656. You guys are in the middle of Enigma versus M42. Now, the first map is already over. That was Ascent. M42 picked it, but they didn't win, which takes us to Icebox. And they have a massive hill to climb in front of them. Can M42 scale this hill? I certainly hope they got their snow boots.
Well, let's find out whether they've got the snow boots or not, because this is going to be a treacherous climb yet again. If Ascent was a difficult ascent, Icebox is, well, going to be their Mount Everest. Or if not a Mount Everest, it's probably going to be their K2. Either way, it is a mountain that they're going to have difficulty to climb. They're going to need as much backup as possible. They're going to need as much strategy as possible, because this is going to be more difficult than Ascent was. And even though we saw them on the first half of Ascent being as good as they were, it sort of just didn't translate into what it happened, what we had seen throughout, because those thrifty rounds from Enigma just made the entire game, man.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it was the thrifty rounds that got them the dub. They would have been able to win it anyway, but it just made it so much more dominant. They were able to chain rounds together on the back of that thrifty, which really put M42 under so much pressure that they had to take risky maneuvers. And whenever there is too much risk, Enigma love to pick them off. Now, as we're heading into Icebox, M42 will be starting on the attacking side. Historically, their attacking side has been good, but like we said, in a sense, they were failing to check some angles. They were not thoroughly clearing out all the positions, which cost them dearly. I hope that the same thing doesn't happen in Icebox, because there's so many more angles that you have to consider in a map like Icebox. So
Yep.
I wish them the best of luck.
Well, let's find out whether or not it works out for them, because the one thing that we need to consider from the side of M42 is, I saw this a little bit earlier as well, Cribs. They actually one of the matches I think I saw earlier in this afternoon, or it was probably yesterday, I don't remember. But they went for an Omen even on Icebox without a Viper, by the way. No double controller. It it was a Viper. It was an Omen, which was probably the most bizarre thing I've seen since the rise of Viper. Let's go to the agent selection though directly and see if or not it's going to be happening again. Sam, of course, again he's going to flirt with the Yoru. We don't believe you. Just do what you got to do, man. Just turn around, please. Well,
We know your tricks, Sam. We know
yeah.
your tricks. Like, quite literally, if you pick up the Omen, I know your tricks by heart anyway. Either way, Enigma Gaming with their lineup, nothing to write home about, right? It's the standard Icebox lineup that we've seen a million times before. RBK on the Viper as usual, Rofi on the Jet, Rexy on Sova. This time, Antidote has picked up the Killjoy. We usually see him on something like Astra, but hey, because RVK is the controller, Antidote picks up the Killjoy. And Excali on Battle Sage. No surprises there. What do M42 go for? I mean, Venom is considering Arena, which I wouldn't be against Arena completely, but do you think at the cost of a Sage, Arena can be brought in?
I mean, it's happened multiple times. I think that we've seen it time and time again, the Sage being switched up for a double duelist situation here. But if
Choose your
Rival
agent.
is actually going for that chamber pick, I'm going to be interested. Okay, Sam's going for the Sage. Rival will go for the... Yeah, man, these guys are just... I don't like the way these guys just mess around with
They
us.
troll
man.
us, yeah? Yeah, they always troll us. All right,
Every single time.
we keep that in mind the next time we have an M42 game. So yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Identical lineups throughout the board, and all the theory crafting we did about new characters being picked up are going to be thrown out the window.
Mhm.
Either way, this is not the first time Venom has trolled casters, so I think I should be wary about it anyway. But as we jump into the game, I want to see what M42 bring to the table. In Ascent, they had a few good rounds when they split up mid to B. Now, if they go for split approaches like this on Icebox as well, it might pay off dividends. But historically, 80% of the times an Indian team tries to go mid to B, they have failed because they do not clear out the halls region. This is a problem faced not just by M42, it's faced by almost every team, whether it's Velocity, whether it's Global Esports, or even the Southeast Asian teams that we have seen on some of the other tournaments happening on our channel. That is a risky play indeed. So splitting up is always 50-50. If they go for any of those standard B pushes or A pushes, things can work, provided the Viper uses the utility on time. This time, M42 have used the Viper utility, at least a toxin screen towards mid, which lets them go under the tube region, but it doesn't cover halls. Antidote still has a line of sight, and he's keen on fighting. Instantly deletes Venom. But does he know there's one more? Now he does. Missed opportunity by Rival, and now he has to face his opponents. Excali goes down at the very least. Antidote still keen for the frag. Will be able to fight again and deny the spike plant as well. Hold on, spikes dropped to mid. They've taken control of the B side, but they have to relinquish everything and go all the way back. And what's even worse is that RBK found the spike. He's called Rexy to defend it as well. Oh no, this round is over already.
Unless Rex can find Rexy, they're struggling with the bullets. RVK is taking out one. Rexy is gonna need a one tap, and he's gonna get it. Enigma have probably secured this round, but Hyper needs a 1v2 out of
Behind him.
nothing. Yeah, which is going to be absolutely denied thanks to the one man coming on the backstab, which
He
is...
didn't say, excuse me, RBK, you let him go.
Oh my god, no, this did not happen. Please tell me that did not just happen. And they're
Oh,
actually
they-
going towards A,
30
and he's
seconds
going to
left.
vote towards B. Of course, this is
What the
exactly... I'm losing my words already. In the
I'm
first
losing my
map-
mind.
First map, sorry, forgive me, first round of the second map,
Enemy
and
remaining.
just like that, Hyper's probably, oh no, he's running towards A. Oh, he's probably bottled this. Yes, he probably
10
has.
seconds left.
There's nothing he can do. Hyper, as much as he would have wanted to restabilize his aim right there, expecting Antidote to be around the corner. That was a scare for Enigma that could have been avoided if that one peak, just that one peak, would have come in towards mid. But they let Hyper escape.
I swear, the moment this match is over, these teams are gonna go review this board like they always do, and they're gonna have a laugh or two about this round. No matter the outcome, they will definitely have a laugh or two about this. There were so many unorthodox things. First of all, M42 forgetting the spike on mid was probably the biggest mistake. And then they got a lifeline. They got an opportunity. They didn't capitalize on it. This time, it's a nice crossfire. Raw fuel will be covered by the toxin screen. This could be big. Excali popping off. And they've let raw fuel also chime in. This has been decimated before it can even begin.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, Fuel, he's gonna go down as well. But Antidote's around there to cover up for his teammates. And even though there's 2 weapons dropped, one particularly, a Spectre being dropped, Raw just had a Ghost. Enigma not gonna be hurt too much by it. Raw is gonna be able to reinvest. He will have a Spectre in his hands and hoping to pick up the Operator in the following round as well, as a bonus is going to be played now. And we all have seen this before already. Enigma, well, they're masters of the bonuses. It's a one of a kind, you know, trick to have, to be so good at bonus rounds.
So good at down economic rounds in general. Whether it's thrifties or bonuses, you name it. Either way, M42 this time are going for a very passive approach. Reasonably so. They know for a fact that Enigma will probably set up traps, and the trap this time is towards the A site. There was a 4-man stack up until 2 seconds ago. Only now RVK has decided to move towards mid and probably start heading towards the B side, which is where most of the players on M42 are heading as well. But once again, they haven't committed the spike anywhere close. No contact even. And I'm surprised that even Enigma are not pushing A. They did launch a recon dart, which spotted out a couple of players. It was destroyed by 2 people, you mind? 2 different gunshots. So this tells M42
Oh, snap!
like
Wow!
Not like this. He was made vulnerable and then burnt by the nanoswarm.
Yep.
That's double trouble. And now the spike is dropped over there. Sure, there is a barrier up that they can use to retrieve it. But once again, Fuel is subject to so much risk when he makes plays like that. Excali dies, Antidote taking damage. They're trying to deny the plant, but they just end up giving up their lives instead. Unnecessary aggression by Enigma, and I can see the sentiment in their minds. They really want to stop this from going down, but eventually they end up losing more players than they wanted to. And they've bitten off a bit more than they can chew. Can they swallow this morsel, or will they have to swallow the poison as defeat? 2 players low on the side of M42, so it's not like it's an impossible run, but then Raw Fuel doesn't have much to work with either. And the spike planted so out in the open, with none of the agents to cover their line of sight, makes this round incredibly difficult for Enigma. But if they can just get a couple of kills, that should be it. This was a bonus round anyway, so all they want is some economic damage.
Oh, Rexy, he's trying to spray down as many as he can, but Raw Fuel will find 2. So he's done damage probably enough for his team to try and get a little bit more economy in the next round. As Enigma will lose out the bonus, but they're gonna have no problem in investing in this round. Raw Fuel has his Operator immediately bought in and ready to be fired upon his opponents, while the rest of his teammates will be comfortably buying up Vandals and Phantoms. And M42 though, they are gonna be key, because they have 2 players who did fall, who are going to be playing on semi-armor, and Hyper has been shut down to just 1 Sheriff, and he is going to be playing on his ultimate as well. So M42 need to be a little careful in this round. This is the round that they need to try and not let Enigma snowball out of this map, quite literally.
I think that would be a decent eco round from the side of Enigma Gaming as well. They got 3 kills, forcing the players of M42 to reinvest into their weapons, which, as you can see already, forces Hyper to play on nothing but a pistol and his Blade Storm. It forces Rival and Sam to degrade to half armor instead of full armor. So there are chinks inside the M42 armor quite literally, but even Enigma is not looking all that healthy. Excali, RVK, Raw Fuel, none of them have full armor. At least Raw Fuel has the Operator, so that could definitely be a deterrent, as opposed to Hyper's Marshal. But both the Jets having snipers in their hands and Blade Storms as well makes this a potential round where we can see anime battles, just like we saw in Ascent.
Yep, well, that just could be the case, as we have a small little tech boss coming from the side of Enigma. They're having a little bit of internet issue, and RVK has disconnected from the server, and this is a little bit time that M42 can use to, you know, strike up some strategies. Maybe think about what exactly they want to do in the rounds to come. How can they stop Enigma from being as dominant as they were in the previous map? Play more as a team, not give up anything to chance, at least in terms of 1v1s or 2v1s even. Have a trade come in. A trade potential is probably the most important right now for the side of M42. Keeping the man advantage, not giving it away every single time, and letting your Jet have the opportunity to fight fights that is information fed, that is fed by information, as well as somebody who's throwing in a piece of utility that will not just put the opponent away from their angle, but also kind of maybe will give them a little damage, like a shock dart or a poison bite or even a nano swarm. That's how M42 need to approach this. And if they're gonna do it or not, well, let's find out. Hyper pulls out the knives and he wants to be aggressive, and that's good for him, as he does hold a marshal in his hands. A weapon that could be dangerous in just the form of a headshot.
Hold on, there is, sorry to cut you off, Universe, but two players of M42 have already made their way into mid. Sam gets picked off, but there will be the Viper who will be spotted out by the turret soon. And after this, the Viper has not done enough to help out her team. Sure, she can use the toxin screen to help the players get inside, but they've already died. And this backstab will now go kind of useless because there was not much to accomplish anyway. A flaw in their strategy right from the beginning. All the sneakiness used up, but to what cost? It didn't enable anything on the A side.
Look at where one of the players has died though. All the way in defender spawn.
Yeah, that's Venom. He tried to move in from the tube region, hoping that he would be able to sneak in. Of course, he was detected by the turret. But what Venom needed to do in that situation was just help his team get into the site. Which, sure, they died while doing so. Not Venom's fault. But I don't know. I mean, once your teammates are dead towards the A site, maybe you can save that sneak for some time later. Because now that Enigma are aware that you will like to exploit Tube whenever you get the chance, Antidote will always place a turret over there. And sure, sometimes the turret will be deactivated considering he's playing on A and the Killjoy doesn't have all that much range. But they can simply adjust that by sending RVK to A instead and having Antidote play mid. That's just so much more effective that way. No crude business. In fact, the only crude business is happening towards the B side this time, where Raw Fuel is ready with that big bad zoom banger. First kill already taken. Hyper, the danger man, out of the equation. And another one might come through, and that's the spike. Disaster upon disaster as Raw Fuel farms up all the kills. On the verge of yet another race, but Rexy steals it away from his face.
Well, as much of a rhyme Crips can make up, it's just as pleasant to hear it from Raw Fuel's operator as well. With every kill he gets, he's listening to the sweet sound of the Sentinel of Light operator. He is going to be enjoying that across every single round. He wants more, he's hungry. He's already on 8 kills, by the way. And he just is not going to stop. There is something that I do want to talk about, which we will probably once the next eco comes in, though. For now, though, let's have a close-up look at this A push from the side of M42. They're committing all in over here as Hyper just jumps up. Raw Fuel will miss the flick, but he will have time to get away from here. No damage done to him as Hyper, oh, he's found an easy kill. He struggles a little bit, dashes away into enemy territory, but he still finds 2. Hyper has pulled off 2 Ks of what I have no words to describe. Excali's taken out 2 himself though, and he's revived RVK as well. And this is somehow Enigma putting a stop to the side of M42, even though they had the upper hand.
Rival's flank could come in on time. Rexy hasn't detected him just yet, and he'll pay the price for it. But is he in a position to stop the defuse from happening? Not happening. Well, 4-1, and M42, their flanks have this one inherent problem that they either not come in on time or they get detected before they even begin. And all these A takes have most likely been thwarted by Enigma. The only time they were successful in this round is because Enigma decided to play for the retake instead. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have been able to come towards the site.
Yeah. Oh, there's another force coming in from M42. Thanks to the plant that they got, they have money to buy in and they are investing into this round, but this is a very, very risky investment. No, it looks like they're going for the half buy, yeah. Now, there is something I do want to touch up upon, Grips, and that is Venom in particular, right? He has multiple roles across multiple maps. Do you think him not having a set role in the team, because having to switch from a controller to a duelist, and sometimes even he's played the Sage, he's played even the Killjoy, do you think that's a little bit of a off-putting, scenario for the team itself?
Could be. There's nothing more off-putting than Excali's performance, and that disgusting spray transfer. Oh my god, that's highlight worthy right there.
Yeah, Excali, he's been on his own set of skills that he has been showing off for so long. Raw Fuel might be the start of the show, Antidote might be chiming in on, but Excali is not too far behind with his 6 skills as well. A good set of rounds being put up here by Enigma. A great lead of 5 rounds being established, and maybe more to come as well. It all depends on M42's performance now. They have a buy. It's strong enough to try and get this done and dusted. And it looks like there is going to be no messing around. A Hunter's Fury being put in by Rival. And he tags up both of them, but he will not finish off any kills. Antidote's being pressured towards mid. And he's going to have 2 players to spray down. And he will. Antidote finds 2. And that's going to be a 3v3 still in the play, though. Cali, he's letting players slip by. Rival has an idea, but there is a Killjoy ultimate that Excali now needs to worry about. He's stuck in the corner where he cannot escape from, and he's also going to be taken down by Rival. And Raw Fuel left all alone. Well, what have you got, my friend? Clutches have been pulled out by you in the most monstrous of situations, and a big one is required of you right now with an operator or a sheriff. Picks up a Vandal. Good situation to be in with the weapon-wise at least, but not in terms of map control or information. He knows there's players all around him, and he's being pressured off every single angle, and he's going to be pressured off of this server as well. 6 and 2, and a much-needed rod comes in for M42.
I was so anxious about M42's push over there, especially because of Excali. If he acted sooner, this guy would have been able to not only stop the plant from happening, but also kill anyone who's trying to move towards the yellow box. This is a power position because Excali being present towards B greens eliminates a lot of post-plant positions that M42 can take. It's going to force them to play towards halls and towards Snowman instead, which would have been the right play if Enigma were coming in from that region, but that was not the case. And Excali's hesitation is probably what allows M42 to win the round, even though it was a little flawed. Let's see if Excali can step up the task this time. Of course he can. 1 frag, nicely taken. RBK, very low on HP, still decides to push. And all their hard work will be gone to waste because Venom gets revived. Antidote here to punish. Good for only 1 though. Rexy has a massive responsibility on his shoulders. He doesn't have the backup of Raw Fuel just yet, so he needs to hold on to this area all by himself, which he's more than capable of doing. But can he win this duel? Yes, he can, but just about the inch of his life. He can easily cover that turret with a cloud burst and go ahead.
Oh, it's just... Oh, baited. He just got baited by the range of it. But the farther away Rix goes from this turret... Oh, he's dashed in. This is opportunity. It's a 1v1 essentially. All he needs to do is check towards yellow. But he's going straight in for the defuse here, at least to tap it. He goes past him and Raw Fuel! What the hell? I'm pretty sure Rix did not expect that in any sense of way. Raw Fuel is such a madman, dude.
Yeah, any sane person would have expected Venom to be the first point of contact, but then Rix is probably screaming at Venom saying, "What are you doing? He's already over here." And Venom's like, damn, this guy literally ignored yellow and went towards the spike first. A madman indeed. But still, that post plant works out for M42. Surprisingly, their B-side assaults have been so much better than their A-side assaults. But they're still opting to go towards B this round. I'm sorry, they're opting to go towards A this round. This could be risky. Raw Fuel is still present on B, so no danger of the operator just yet. But will they check for RVK's angle? I don't think so. This Toxin Screed kind of discourages them from pushing on. And they're walking past RVK.
Perfect. RVK is still protected, and this is a huge outplay that could be coming in over here. They have no clue that he's here. Rexy is trying to protect his teammate for all he can, and RVK has finally pounced out of his den to find 3. And it's worked out. Patience is the virtue, and it is also the name of the game here. And RVK is the one teaching it to M42.
Such a sweaty round. Like we said, the A-side assaults for M42 have been significantly more successful than... the A-side assaults have been less successful than the B-side assaults. So they're still taking a risk every time they decide to go in that region. But this time M42 seems to be opting to go mid. It worked out for them last time because they didn't check Excali's position and he wasn't very relevant. He was a bit late. But if Excali decides to be a bit more proactive this time around, he could die very early on. Oh, they're going from mid to A. A very innovative approach, but there's no Viper utility to cover their retreat. Will they be able to make this one work? Enigma can certainly defend this one, but Antidote left on an island kind of leaves him isolated. Oh no! Rexy kills the spike carrier. That's the worst player to die. And this has started to crumble now. M42 get control of the site, but they cannot plant. And this is just tragic.
A round by Enigma. And it is the last round of the half. 8-3. There's only 2 possibilities. It's either 8-4 or a 9-3. And either way, Enigma have got a W on their hands, at least for the first half. A good first half for the side of the defenders is going to let them be a lot more comfortable on the attack and strategize what they want to do, because that's where Raw Fuel thrives his best. And not that he's not doing anything different right now. Antidote will be detected, but he has more than enough space to run around on that site. As M42 this time are being careful of their pushes. They're not running just in. They're being a little bit slow about this. They want a set execute to come in on the back of a Sova drone, but Rexy himself has sent out his drone, tagged up one of their players, and Antidote's ready for this fight.
Using Nanoswarm to delay as much as possible, but they will move in with a Viper spit in hand. Even a barrier up has been put up, so no counter push can be done from Enigma, but Rexy has fancy footwork, and he's got even fancier aim. Gets a surprise angle, which nobody would have expected. Venom now has to dig the spike out of this pit. Can he do so? He's going for some big play moves instead, going for the kills first rather than prioritizing the spike plant, which would have worked if not a triple peak came in. RVK rescues his team at the last moment. Only a Viper can stop another big brain Viper, but a 9-3 half universe. Massive lead for Enigma, and M42 can only hope for a miracle in this comeback.
Well, a miracle does happen along these scorelines multiple times, by the way. This particular scoreline, I'm not gonna call it the word you know what. I'm just gonna say it's a miracle, because
I think the whole 9-3 scoreline being a miracle / a curse was developed by a bunch of superstitious people, and we are living in 2022. No superstitions should exist in the 21st century. Let them be debunked. Maybe M42 can still prove us wrong, but for now, they are gambling on the wrong side. There's only one defender on B, and that's Venom. The best that he can do is delay this push with his Viper utility and hope that his teammates arrive in time.
well, let's find out. Oh, Rex, a good double dink, but he receives one on the back of his head as well. RVK to deliver it straight back with just a second delay, as Enigma will find a plant down, and they will be running back to post-plant positioning here. They've actually come close back in. Okay, this is interesting.
They built a crossfire of sorts. Rexy and Raw Fuel playing next to each other is a little bit of a bait play. As soon as Raw Fuel gets spotted, they'll assume that the close angle is clear, and that's when Rexy will step inside. And look at the placement of this barrier off. The one block in between that has been destroyed creates so much trouble for M42. A nearly flawless round from Enigma, as they only lose Antidote towards mid at the start. Nobody towards the later stages of the round even faced more than 50 damage. Incredible from Enigma Gaming, and with this they've secured the pistol, most likely will secure the bonus too and get to 11-3.
Yep. It almost looks inevitable at this point, Crips, that this could just be another dominating victory By the way, you have a look at Enigma's record so far. It's been three series, right? I don't know how far this game's gonna go, but if this does not go any further than 7 rounds, then there is no team that they've faced off so far that's actually put up more than 7 rounds against Enigma. What a record to have.
Yeah, that would be an incredible record to have. Not to forget that in the long run, this round differential will help them so much. How does Rix win that battle? RBK quick for the trade, but can he adhere to his ground? Gets one more before he finally hits the dust. So amazing stuff from Enigma as they're still able to hold on to the incoming rotations. Rexy gets one pick, but Hyper has a bigger gun now. And Venom doesn't care about any utility in his way. He still peeks. Such bravery on this man, but it will be quickly rewarded. Excali still has more cumulative HP than both of the defenders combined, but can he stop the defuse from happening? Half of it's done already, and there's the battle stage that we've been looking for.
Well, a little too close. Okay, Excali. A little too close for comfort there for Enigma, as that round was theirs to win pretty comfortably, but they lost 4 of their players, which is going to be forcing in reinforcements and reinvestments. A lot more than they would have expected. And that's the kind of the reason why they're actually not going for it as well. You can see it. Only 2 players are playing on the Spectre. It's going to be Excali who saved one and Raw Fuel buying in another. While the remaining players are going to be just playing on pistol. So this bonus round is, well, one probably that they're not going to be end up winning over here at Enigma. But hey, I saw them win this one before. I don't think I can really count them out.
At least they find out that there is an AWP present over there, so they can avoid this position altogether. Going in from Tube will most likely be unchecked unless Venom comes in to that position. And at that range, the Spectre versus the Vandal, it's a 50-50 battle. Venom still reigns supreme, but it's a 4v4. And them forcing all the defenders to rotate towards the mid area leaves kind of defenseless. The Spectres and the Ghosts are able to pick them off. A plant is also likely possible, but Venom finds a tiny gap, which he uses to blow off RBK. Rexy being forced on the high ground. Does he know that Venom has already positioned himself behind him? Antidote is the one who finds that out.
Well, it's a 1v2, 10 HP, spikes on his hands. Oh, he might just be playing this really, really well. He could have just forced him to think that he's going towards B, but they're still holding on towards mid. They want to play this safe. They want to have equidistant pushes towards either side. And the minute Rexy decides to go for that tap of the spike, that's going to be the end of his life.
Finally, he finally moves, yeah.
I genuinely thought he lagged out or something.
Yeah, right? He kinda might be pulling off a Drax move. If he stays incredibly still, maybe they won't see him.
I love that you just made a Marvel reference.
I did it just for you, bro.
Yes! Let's go. Well, 11-4. M42. We gotta see something a little bit more. They still have weaponry to work with in this round, and Ares on Rix is a little bit questionable, but that weapon's been buffed up to a point where you can't really differentiate between it and a, buffed up Vandal. So let's see how it works out for them. Rival holding down the angle as Sam is holding with a wall ready to put it down as soon as he hears some sound cues, and Raw Fuel jumping down was that cue. M42 have little aggressive defense on A. They've got 3 players committed over here. This could be a dangerous commitment.
Forget about the defense on A. Look at the Viper toxin screen on B.
Spike down A.
What kind of a toxin screen is that?
Oh,
It's a bit weird. I have not seen this one before, but let's see how it pans out. Antidote is looking to challenge Venom, so yeah, that toxin screen will most likely remain a mystery. Another mystery is how he survives that. I really thought Antidote will lose that duel, but a revival comes through. Can Rexy actually survive this one? Nope, Rival cleans them both up. Still, it's a 2v3. And Enigma have a little bit of control on the B side. So that question of where is the spike going to be always keeps on lingering in M42's minds. But RVK, he now has to retrieve the spike from a very treacherous position up on the zipline tower. Yikes, that's one of the worst positions to drop your spike in. The only worst position is smack in the center of defender spawn. But hey, not something we're looking at. He's aware about the possibility of Sam being on high ground, so Antidote will check that angle. But since he's very low on HP, he's never gonna win that duel.
It's just
they
one
walk
man
past
left.
each other?
Oh, Oh, Sam has no clue. He's gone past him. RVK might just cluster on the basis of kills, but he needs to have a back ready because he's got somebody right there. It's a second away. RVK!
How? Excuse me? First of all, Sam not being able to detect him was the most unfortunate thing that could have happened. Just a tiny pixel of Toxin screen is all that blocks him and vision of RVK. And then Rival was unaware about him being in that position. Hyper not in the right place. He tried to get down the zipline tower. He was unable to escape the grasp of RVK's crucial headshots. And I thought, yeah, maybe they can boil down the time. Maybe Sam can stay alive for long enough to make sure they run the clock down. But no, I know. RVK will win that any day and twice on a Monday.
Well, what a clutch that was. With just seconds remaining, that man pulls out, I think, one of the plays of this season so far.
Yeah,
that I've seen.
Hands down, one of the best clutches.
Excali is going to be spotted out as Rix is going to be spotted out himself towards mid. Enigma have a little bit of an idea about what exactly is going on the defensive lines of M42, but here's Antidote trying to make things work, and he's going to lose it. Loses his life, and they're immediately actually going towards it, Enigma. Oh, RVK gets Sam. Revenge has been taken, and RVK has been on a complete and total confidence boost now. He's not losing those fights. B-side has been completely opened up. Only one man standing between them and that B-side, which is Hyper, is on the side, but Enigma have other plans. They're going towards A back again. And Venom has no idea that Rafiel's crawled past him.
It happens again, doesn't it? It happens once more. Rix kills Rexy, but that's okay because Venom's still good for the spray down. How on earth do you do that? Hit the rewind button, ladies and gentlemen, because that is a clip-worthy moment right there. A well-timed recon dart from the Sova reveals the two of them so he can shoot them both down. And then he still has intel on the other player who snuck past him initially. Rafiel could have made a massive difference in this round if he went undetected. But boy, oh boy, is Venom diligent.
Well, he said to RVK, you think you're the only Viper who can clutch out of 1v3 clutch? I can do it too, all by myself in the Viper's pit.
Get out of my way.
He finds another round for his team to survive upon. 12-5 the scoreline. Enigma still not out of this. We've seen them pull up 50 rounds before. Here's Rafiel, but he's gonna be absolutely battered down thanks to Sam's aim. As Rexy will hit one back though, this man with the Marshall is actually a relic to be feared. And look at this, okay. Of course they pull out the Sheriffs to get 2 more kills. Of course they have a 2v2 on their hands. And there is a backstab coming in the form of Venom. And he's being a little bit careful about this. Oh, Venom! Venom, no! Venom!
Ouch. After pulling off a sick 3-man spray down, for him to not win that duel is just unfortunate at the very least. Now they spotted out Rix too. Out of range of his utility, he doesn't have all that much to work with. The alarm bot and the turret won't really help him. And the plant also is relatively in the open, a place from where they can defend it from Snowman as well. They can defend it from the yellow area as usual, but only Excali's playing on yellow. Look at where RVK has gone. He's gone all the way towards halls. All right.
Ooh, he's coming up on top. He wants to play from Rex. He might just find RVK in kitchen. Excali has no idea about this. Now they do. And now Excali has to play the wait game. That's all he's got to do. Time is of the essence. And it is running away with every dwindling second. And it's all over, ladies and gentlemen. Enigma have won yet again to finish it off. Another series, of course, with a Thrifty. What a win. 13-5. And this dominant run from this beautiful side. The boys in black and pink have made it work in ways that we have not seen before, even by the most dominant teams like Velocity. And RVK, well, he had a brilliant game, didn't he? Giving some love to his fans and to his own teammates as well. Needs to show some love to himself. What a game of Valorant this has been, Crips.
Of course, he has to seal the deal with a kiss. He blows it to the camera. And yeah, the audience is gonna lap that up. Either way, I have to admit that this has been one of the most brilliant displays of skill from Enigma Gaming. And
Indeed.
so far, they still hold the record. Not a single team has scored more than 7 rounds against them in any map. That's amazing. So while in the overall standings they're up there with God Particles, the round differential separates them. Let's take a look at the highlights, because there were some rounds in this map which honestly blew our minds from both the teams.
Yeah, there were moments from M42 as well that, could have probably shown a little bit more, structure to their gameplay. I think that from the first round itself, they had a little bit of, a charisma to them that they were trying to throw Enigma off, because there were multiple rounds where Enigma constantly kept losing players that they shouldn't have been losing, and M42 were capitalizing upon it for sure. But the entirety of the situation was Enigma were playing more as a team than M42 were.
Oh yeah,
They
definitely.
you could see it. It was quite visible and just brilliant, man.
There were so many instances where they snuck past each other. It happened on Ascent as well. It happened on Icebox as well. So that has been the overall theme of this game. Another overall theme has been Raw Fuel popping off. He got an ace in Ascent, a quad kill over here. Even Excali pulls off a 6 spray down from this very position when he uses that barrier up to get height. Either way, I want to focus more on the narrative of these teams being able to sneak past each other, because there was this one instance in the pistol round where they could have easily killed that Jet, but they didn't check that angle. And just by a narrow margin, she was able to sneak past. Then
Yeah.
there was yet another instinct where Venom was able to get all the way towards Defender's spawn, but his teammates had already died on A. So that flank kind of
Mhm.
went to waste. So you can see that Enigma Gaming are trying new things. I'm sorry, not Enigma. M42 are trying things quite often, quite frequently. And many times they pay off. At least that push, however unique it is, it lets them get to the site at the very least. But then post plants is a completely different ballgame, which they were not prepared about.
Oh man. Now the one thing it's probably only on Icebox that stuff like this happens, right? Where you have your opponent running in towards your own spawn, the weird exchange of positions, just because of that one avenue towards mid. You have the tunnels, you have them pushing up. There's so many avenues where you can just escape, because one bit of because of the different angles that this map has. And Enigma Gaming, I felt, even though M42 were exploiting those angles, like you said, multiple times where Venom crawled past, there was, where the Hyper crawled past. Enigma never really gave up their defensive line. They were always aware of their surroundings. They knew what was happening. And even if somebody did crawl by one of their teammates, the other one was always there to stabilize it, wasn't there?
Yeah, definitely. That give and take relationship always existed between the players of Enigma Gaming. So one player, if he lacks a little ability to hold the position, his teammates will make up for it by either just letting the player give up that position and playing for retake instead, or the rotations were there in time to reinforce that area. Of course, there were also several rounds where the rotations did not arrive on time, and M42 was able to have their way. Those were the only rounds they were able to win, because they got into the site quickly enough before Enigma rotations arrived, and then they just played the post plant. But in several post plant situations, even M42 struggled, because they would get picked off by the players of Enigma Gaming in the most weirdest of ways. Like this
Yeah.
clutch, for example. How do you justify something like this? And then RVK's clutch, probably one of the best in the season. He literally became invisible for a second, as if he stole Harry Potter's invisibility cloak, and he walks past Sam, kills his two teammates, and then figures out Sam's location, murders him
Wow.
with a second remaining on the clock. If that isn't one of the best clutches of the season, then I don't know what else is.
Indeed, man. That was a beautiful, beautiful play by RVK. And, it's moments like those that show that it's not just about you having a good team strategy. I mean, team strategy is always good, right? But if your individual brilliance is also just as good, like how RVK just put up 20 kills for his team, what can you do? This man was a lurker. He played on the entry at times. He was trade fragger. He was even the controller of the game. He handled the pace of the game. He held backstabs. RVK was an absolute star in this map of Icebox. A top-notch 5-star performance from the man himself. Both the Vipers were pretty good. Like you can see Venom himself also with 14 kills, but with Rix and Hyper trying to put in as much as they can, 12 and 12 each, Rival and Sam just did not have the impact that they could have had on this game. And with that, well, it's in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. 13 and 7, 13 and 5, 7 being the max anybody's ever done against Enigma in 3 series so far. 6 maps, that is, that Enigma have not let a single team get past the number 7.
Damn, lucky number 7 indeed. And this is going to help them out so much when we take a look at the overall standings of Group B and Gauntlet. At this point, Enigma are tied with God Particles. Both the teams have been able to win 3 matches each. But this round differential that Enigma has is going to give them the edge over a team like God Particles. And this will be so crucial because we've seen so many times teams miss out a spot in the playoffs because of round differentials, and Enigma is not going to have that problem this season. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's pull up the rounds, the league standings, and see which team lies where.
Well, I do have one thing that I, would say. I don't think these two teams are going to need, the round differentials because at some point one of them is going to falter, and that is going to be when they face off against each other. And that is a match I'm waiting for. 306, God Particles and Enigma, top of the table, at the top of their game. And Enigma are looking unstoppable at the moment. God Particles might be just as good, but they've had some dwindles along their way. And Enigma are spotless currently, whereas M42, 4th loss of the season straight. Only 2 points made up so far in a very, very dangerous position. I mean, it is the last season. It is do or die. They have to do whatever they can right now because at this point, you've got nothing to lose, man. You just have to put all your cards on the table. You got new strategies. You want to try some new lineups. This is it. You've got 3 more matches left, M42. Do what you can. Throw in the Yoru if you want. Go ahead. So Yoru, Breach, I don't know, Chamber, KO, and Viper combo. I don't know, the weirdest lineups you want. Just go ahead and try it. This is the only time you can do it because all of the action that happens here happens at the TEC Gauntlet. That is the end of today, though, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. It has been a pleasure to provide this action for you. Enigma have won it out, and we will see them further on in the Gauntlet performing to the best of their abilities, and M42 hopefully as well. You are watching the Esports Club Gauntlet Season 4, powered by Crucial and powered partner 656. Do go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you all tomorrow with the newest game for you with the highest Valorant action. Thank you all. Happy gaming, and good night, everybody.
2, 3, let's go.